Okay, good morning, accounting students. We're looking at the first little section on standard costing. If you remember this pen, in process costing, what we did is we took the total costs, the number of pens that were produced, and we got an average cost per pen. And that's fine, but that means that every batch we produce is going to have a different average cost. And if we're using FIFO, LIFO, weighted average, it makes our life really complicated. The idea behind standard costing is what we're going to do is we'll just work out an average of an average, and we will use that for any type of inventory item. In other words, materials, units produced will all be costed at an average cost, and that will keep our life really, really simple. So let's go and do a really simple example here. We're going to make 10 widgets. Each widget should take 4 units, say, for example, of materials. Could be pounds, could be liters, could be kilograms. Each unit of materials or labor, whatever it happens to be, should cost $1 each. And then we pay for 50 units at 90 cents each. And we use 45 units to produce 10 widgets. So if we first assume that this is materials, let's go and look at our costs. So we pay for 90. We pay 90 cents for 50. So that's going to cost us, let's do that calculation, 50 times 90 cents. That probably actually happens to be about 45. Actually costs us, just try that again, 50.9. Yes, it does cost us $45. So $45 will get credited to payables. Now we're going to bring those 50 units in to our materials account. But materials is a type of inventory, and therefore materials has to be at standard cost. So we got 50 units. When we bring them in, they must be at the standard cost of $1 each, which means $50. So here is the plus, there is the minus, they don't balance up. There is a missing minus of $5. What is that $5? Well, it's the 10 cents we saved on each of the 50 units. So it is what we call a price variance. We paid less than we should have, and so technically it is favorable, which is why it's a minus, and we are happy about it. But these variances generally don't always come with just positive sides to them. So the next step, we're going to look at the units issued to production. Well, 45 units of materials were issued to production. Okay, and that's 45 at $1, the standard cost of $45. How much goes into work in progress? Well, we produced 10 units, and 10 units should have used, or 10 widgets. 10 units, widgets should have used 4 units of materials, pounds, liters, kilograms, and each of those should have cost $1. So we're going to end up bringing $45 into work in progress. That's the plus, that's the minus. We are missing a plus of $5 here. What is that? Well, we used more materials than we should have. We should only have used 40 pounds or whatever the used units are. So that is a usage variance, and it is a plus, which means that we are sad about it. In other words, it's an unfavorable variance. And again, we could have worked that out. We should have used 40 pounds. We did use 45, so 5 pounds at a standard price of $1 would give us that amount. What I'm alluding to there is you can also use formulas in this section. However, as an accountant, obviously I prefer to use a spreadsheet. So here we will create 5 columns. There are more, but we're only going to look at these 5 right now. So we're going to have here over on this side our actual, this is what it did cost us, which is the actual quantity we purchased, in this case 50, at 90 cents, so 0.9, which costs us $45. In the middle, we're going to have a column that we make up ourselves. We're going to call it the revised, and that's going to consist of the actual amount we purchased multiplied by the price it should have cost us, which is $1, which gives us 50. We'll see a difference between here. That difference is known as the price variance. And we paid less than what we should have, so we have $5 and it is favorable. We're happy about it. Okay, finally, the next two columns we need to look at is the difference between this revised and what we call the standard. And the standard is the same as a flexible budget. The revised is what it should have cost us based on the actual quantity in the standard price. The standard is what it should have cost us completely. So it's a standard price of $1 multiplied by the standard quantity. Well, how do we get the standard quantity? That's based on the actual units we produced, which was 10, multiplied by the standard input. It should have been 4 units or pounds or kilograms per unit, which gives us 40. So the standard price times the 40 gives us $40. Now this is the catch with materials. When you go and compare it against the revised column, we need to look at the revised for what was issued. Why? Because materials, if you buy it and you don't use it, you can still use it at a different time period. We'll see for labor that's different. So we got 45 units that were issued to production at $1, which is 45. And it should have cost us 40. There's a $5 difference. It cost us this side more than what it should have, so it is unfavorable. Okay. Now, how would this have been different if these units were not actually pounds or kilograms of materials, but they were actually something, for example, like labor? So in the case of labor, I mean, again, this is a very low price to pay our workers, but this could be a factory in Indonesia. How this is going to end up being different is that if we think of labor, we'll just clean this out completely. That's going to be labor. If we think of labor, you cannot save labor. If I pay you for 50 hours and you come to work, but I've only got work to keep you busy for 45 hours, I can't ask you to come back the next day and work 5 hours for free. I don't get to save the labor. Okay, the labor's gone if I don't use it. So in this particular example, if I'm going to look at the bottom section, first here, this is now labor. We paid for 50 hours and we paid our workers 90 cents each, which costs us $45. The actual quantity we paid for was 50 hours. It should have cost us $1 an hour, which is 50. So again, the company saved $5. The workers are maybe not as happy being paid 90 cents instead of $1. What should it have cost us? Well, the price per hour was $1. The standard quantity units produced was 10. Should have taken 4 hours a unit. So in other words, that is 40, which is $40. So we end up over here with a usage, or probably an efficiency variance would be a better word to use for labor, of $10, and it cost us more than it should have. So it is unfavorable. And again, this is very important with variances, is we have to say to ourselves, well, we had a favorable variance because we paid them less, but we had to make them work more hours to produce the same number of units. So we actually ended up losing more in the long run here. And obviously, again, we can do the same sort of thing with the labor over here. We paid $45, but again, it's not as, it's what you will end up doing in class is you will end up working with the spreadsheet because it's much more efficient than working with tier counts, and also much more efficient than working with formulas, which you may end up having to see when you get to grad school. Okay, so next we'll be going back to the example from our flexible budgets, and we will be doing that example again, but in standard costing format. Thank you.